What originally got you interested in HighLevel?
Immediately realized the power of putting all these tools in one place.
What's the main difference between what's worked before to what's working now?
Yeah, so you can't just like go build a list with a bunch of settings and spray and pray. It's got to be personalized and specific to the person.
So
Yep.
you've got flexibility there. I like
Yep.
it. Sounds like a great product, mate.
Thank you.
How big the market needs to be for this to make sense to a potential client?
Depends on the channel and the
One of your strategies that you go to first, like one of the quickest one, is LinkedIn. Is it because there's not many bottlenecks in there to go and launch?
it's super dependent on the ideal customer.
Yeah, competitors got this much following and they are actually our ideal market. Let's go and hit them up.
You got it.
I don't want you to do that strategy for me, for my business. What would you
Yeah.
say to that?
Do you want to feel comfortable or do you want to make money?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode on the HighLevel Experience podcast. Our guest today is someone who's been in the sales game for over 2 decades, starting out hustling handsets and ended up helping big name enterprises scale like lean startups. These days, he's the go-to guy for agencies that are done with just posting content and crossing their fingers and are ready to start actually booking meetings. He's built some serious, impressive outbound systems. Think cold email, LinkedIn outreach, AI copywriting, all baked right into HighLevel. And this isn't just a bunch of tools duct taped together. He co-founded Ada Sales Systems, and what they built is more than just automation. It's a complete outbound machine that agencies can resell and scale. So let's get into it. Please welcome to the show, Bryan Higgins.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Great to have you on, Bryan. Bryan, most agencies, they focus on inbound content, SEO, ads, but you've doubled down on outbound. What broke in the old way of doing things that made you say, screw it, we need a new playbook?
So it's no surprise that B2B sales has changed over the years. The days of obviously phone books and looking up businesses are way long gone. But we try to stay abreast of like the email outreach as well as LinkedIn outreach that gets results. We do very high volume in terms of number of accounts and emails that we manage for other customers and for ourselves. And as an agency owner within the Go HighLevel world for 5 years, we've got the bruises to prove it, and we've found how to get things done right away. And then obviously with the growth of AI, we started our voice AI agency at the end of 2022, actually, right as really ChatGPT 3.5 was getting commercialized. And so we were using tools outside of GHL before, and everything we did was always outside of GHL. But then the natural progression is to get our customer in GHL, right? And so we built these tools inside of GHL because we wanted them there. It was just a bad experience for us as agency owners to do all this outreach for customers and then get them into GHL. And then they're like, well, where's the conversation? Who am I talking to? So that's a little bit of the background.
Excellent. Can you give me like some examples of, just so the guys get it, because inbound can be a very effective method, but outbound is where you really have the full control over it. Like you can really take effort and then effort turns into output. What has been the output for you like with this strategy that you're applying?
Sure. Yeah. So we build inbound and outbound systems for people, but what we built for outbound for GHL agency owners that we've done for ourselves first was the ability to get LinkedIn automation and outreach inside of Go HighLevel, and the ability to reply within the conversation streams inside Go HighLevel, and the ability to have enriched data about that customer. And then we took it one step further. We built a community around being able to teach people how to sell LinkedIn outreach and ultimately doing white label fulfillment for them. So we built that because we wanted to live within the world that we live in, and we understand agency owners because we are one. And we wanted because there's a lot of people who sell to home services, for example, in the Go HighLevel community, right? And we started selling to them Go HighLevel and SEO, PPC, and all that. And our aha moment, if you will, was right in front of our face. I mean, I've been in B2B sales for over 20 years. And it's like, well, a lot of these home service companies want commercial business, right? And maybe we're selling them a $300 a month license, $500 a month license. Well, guess what? Cold email and LinkedIn outreach command some high premiums. You could charge 1,500 to 5,000 plus per month for these services. So it took our average revenue per user from 300 to 500 up to thousands of dollars per user. So now, as we've laser focused on what our background was and what we were good at with my business partner, that's really where we were. But as we continued to build it, we realized, hey, agency owners could really benefit from this because they're doing cold outreach, they're doing LinkedIn, they're doing email. Let's turn it into a tool for them. So it was really how we got here. And then now we have agencies that not only are getting their existing infrastructure into Go High Level to be able to do it, because Go High Level is phenomenal once you have the lead, but it's not built for getting a lead in there in the first place unless you're doing advertising or cold email in another system or LinkedIn outreach in another system. And then you tack on the list building aspect, the enrichment aspect, the copywriting aspect, and we put all that in the system as well because those are things that you need to do outreach effectively. So the AI is doing the research, it's writing the copy, and then we teach agency owners how to do that the right way.
I want to unpack all that because there's so much gold in these strategies, and I've personally been utilizing some of these, not exactly the way you're doing it, but through like instantly, and they've got some data enrichment. So it's a big game, and it's kind of like the new gold standard when it comes to cold email. You can't get away with the spin tax old ways anymore. So I want to get into all that, but what I'm curious to know is, what has it been like for you since you started using HighLevel? And what originally got you interested in HighLevel and results you've had with it?
Yeah, I had a competitive type software, ClickFunnels, obviously a lot of people are familiar with, but there was like opportunity, right? Where they were trying to piece these things together and it didn't work together the way I wanted it.
Mhm.
And so when I found Go High Level, immediately realized the power of putting all these tools in one place. And so we started off targeting home service companies, electricians, plumbers, HVAC, and then again it's grown since there. But the cold outreach game that we started many years ago and today are two very different things. You
What's
mentioned the spin text. Obviously liquid spin text helps a little bit with like the day of the week and all that, but you know, we're all getting bombarded with, hey, I really admire your company, hey, I saw this, I saw that, and it's just not authentic and people see right through it and they delete. So, when we're doing our outreach for customers, we're doing social listening and we're finding lists differently than we were, right? So like the days of going to Zoom Info or Apollo or pulling these aggregate lists of decision makers that fit your demographic, those days are gone. You got to have relevant messaging with the right offer, the right person at the right time. So we've switched our, instead of it being a template, most of the email or LinkedIn message, the first two lines are typically personalized and very specific to a problem that you're solving for them.
Yeah,
Right?
let's unpack that. So what's the main difference between what's worked before to what's working now?
Yeah. So you can't just like go build a list with a bunch of settings and spray and pray. It's got to be personalized and specific to the person. So when you use LinkedIn as an outreach platform, you have a ton of information about people, right? You can obviously see where they're located, jobs they've had, types of companies they worked for, likes, comments, posts. There's a wealth of information about the person. And then on top of that, the company that they work for, the industry they're in, all the decision makers within that company. Like there's a lot of great info. So when you use AI to not only go out and research that info and grab that info, you can use it to build that personalized outreach based on their activity. So for example, let's say you're you're targeting, obviously, with GHL agency owners. You're looking for people that may be a competitor or offering marketing services, right? So let's say you find an influencer on LinkedIn that got 1,000 people to like and comment their posts. Well, a lot of those people have a problem that piece of content is solving, right? So when we take that list of people, we run it through AI to score the company first. We say, is this company a good fit for who I'm targeting? And if
Mhm.
it passes the company score, it moves on to an individual score. Is this title a good fit? Right? You don't want to talk to a frontline salesperson if you're trying to get to the head of sales, right? So we would filter out the company, then we would filter out the person, make sure they're not a competitor or something like that. And then if they pass those two, then we go on to write the personalized outreach. Hey, I noticed you were interested in marketing growth, and so the content that we're reaching out to them is very relevant and timely, right? And then from there we lead with value. Everyone is reaching out asking for an appointment, and that's great. That doesn't work anymore. You got to lead with solving a small piece of the problem and some sort of high value content or some sort of,
Mm.
so it's just it's really the same thing that inbound marketing is in reverse.
In reverse, you're gonna have to think about it still like a funnel, right? Where you're not going after the kill right away on the first one. You're trying to kind of create a conversation starter and get into that next layer where you can maybe go deeper into asking for more about it gradually instead of all at once.
Exactly. Yeah. Because as like if you pull a market, only 3 to 5% of the people are actively shopping for your solution,
Mm.
right? So when you look at the top 20%, they could be convinced, like they know about your solution, they're solution aware, and they're probably would potentially, if you gave them more information, could book an appointment. But then the vast majority in the middle, I don't remember the exact percentages, but call it 40%, 50%. That middle section is like the swing vote, right?
Mm.
They aren't partial to either side, and that's where you want to target that larger group. And then there's the another 20% that they know they don't want your solution, they're not interested, they're not a good fit, right? So if you,
You know,
yeah,
this is great. I've never heard anybody using that analogy of like voting, but it's actually like very relevant. It is. You're
yeah,
trying to swing the vote over to you as opposed to a competitor, right? And then how are you gonna go about it, right?
yeah, yeah, we tend to try to do outreach that's very focused on that 3%, 5% of people, whereas 95% of the people don't fall into that.
Mm.
So we need to open the dialogue and start to generate curiosity and interest first and earn the right to continue. Like if we send them to a quick calculator we created about ROI for that specific industry and person, and then, oh, by the way, on the page, be sure to check out my voice AI agent that's there that could answer the phone and be your virtual greeter on your website. You know, hey, while you're there, be sure to chat with our AI chat agent. Like, so the call to action once they're there can be very specific to booking an appointment, learning more, case studies, stuff like that for social proof. But we help you either do it for you or teach you how to fish, right? So we basically, with our platform that we plugged into GHL and it's wireframed in, but it also integrates, so it's all in the conversation stream. We either let
Mhm.
you run it yourself, where you can resell it for higher margin, or done for you where you could still double the price and basically do none of the work. So we,
Or use it for fulfillment of your customers, or resell it directly so they can use it themselves, like you mentioned. So
yep,
you've got flexibility there. I like
yep,
it. It sounds like a great product, mate.
thank you.
You've got there's a couple of pillars. I was digging in through your videos yesterday, and there's a couple of key pillars when it comes to the why the strategy works.
Yep,
And in one of your videos, you were explaining how there's this middle bit between inbound and outbound, and how there's a correlation between that. And also, you talked about the key pillars being the data enrichment, the using AI outreach, and automations. Can you break down the tech side of things and just for those nerds listening?
Yeah, absolutely. So whether it's inbound or outbound, you want to have some intelligence that's governed. Okay. So like when AI just kind of gets a mild prompt and there aren't many parameters, there's no quality assurance, it's going to sometimes create things, fabrications, hallucinations is what it's referred to. But you don't want it to just make things up. And you certainly don't want it to give a chili recipe, right? So it's ultimately we're going to put some governance based on who we're reaching out to, right? Like you want the path defined of how someone's either going to come inbound or outbound, right?
Hmm.
So like when we do the enrichment, I'll give you some examples. Let's say somebody opts into one of your forms and they put their email address and their company name. Well, guess what? We now have, or just even the email address, we now have the domain of their company, which we can go out and find the company, what size company, how many employees, maybe revenue, and some information about them automatically. And we could put that right into Go High Level and use lead scoring, right? And we
Right.
could put parameters in the lead scoring all within the automations to say, this is a higher value customer, this is a lower value customer. And that's those systems command high premiums when you're setting that up for a sales organization. So, that way you have the ability to know who you're talking to before you talk to them. So you could have, based on the score, it could route different places. So, for example, maybe it's an AI outreach automation for companies that have 10 or less employees. And then 11 to 99 goes to inside sales, and 100 or more employees goes to the enterprise rep. There's a lot of customization that you can point people towards and ultimately send them down a different path depending on how you have it configured.
So really
Um,
understanding your market and understanding how corporate structures work is the key essence to this. Like you mentioned, those numbers of employees, because that's what's going to govern who's going to be the right decision maker at that point.
yeah, and obviously, if you're building a campaign for, like, on the flip side, that's probably relevant is on the home service side. Let's say you got 100 employees or one employee, it really doesn't matter. Ultimately, if you're going to offer commercial business for them and you're going out and setting appointments, you're going to be targeting property managers, facility managers, people with buildings and commercial buildings within a specific geographic service area, right? Like if they're only in one metro area, you're not going to reach out across the country, right? So if you're doing email or LinkedIn outreach, you really, the first thing you want to do is start with a total addressable market of how big the market is, right? And then if they have a big enough market and you can go after, then you could charge them thousands of dollars a month to do that outreach.
So how big is it? How big the market needs to be for this to make sense to a potential client?
Yeah, great question. So depends on the channel and the offer. So if it's LinkedIn, so LinkedIn has, first off, the user needs Sales Navigator to unlock double the connection requests per month. So if you have Sales Navigator, you can connect with 800 people per month. If you have Sales Navigator, you can also reach out to 800 open profiles in addition to the connection requests. Okay, so total gives you 1,600 people in a month that you can reach out to. So if you have 3 months of runway, that's ideal. So you're looking at 4,800 or whatever. Did I do my math right? Yeah. You're talking, ideally, you're looking at about 5,000 or more people on LinkedIn that you can find in terms of like filters. And
Because
then,
because of those conversion rates and the industry standards, what you say, so that way you can then go back to the client or when you're initially pitching with confidence to say, hey, we can get you this many.
exactly.
So that's why that's why you need that volume. So how would that work if I'm like in a smaller city, let's say 400,000 is the population, and it's let's just go with an example here. Let's go with like a handyman business that would go after or would want to form a relationship with a property managers in the area.
Sure.
I don't know if there'd be that many in that city. So What
Exactly.
could I do then?
Yeah, so you can also target referral partnerships. So, other adjacent industries that have the same target customer that
And you
is
can do that
usually,
through cold email as well, like same approach, it's just a different messaging.
yeah, you actually have a much higher conversion rate because you're reaching out to another business to say, I want to give you more business. So
Right.
you instead of like a 1 to 2 to 5 to 10% reply rate, you might start at like 5 to 10 or higher. I've had referral campaigns that are like 20% positive, 20% reply rate, vast majority positive. It's
Okay.
so
You may not realize this, but for the last 2 years, I've had a secret weapon that has made running my business inside of HighLevel so much easier. You see, there is so much that HighLevel can do, which is amazing, but it's a lot of work to stay up to date with it. And even more so if my customers are asking me questions about it. And this is why I'm excited to announce that our show is officially part of the HLPT Creator Network. This is HighLevel Pro Tools, an organization that I've been using to run support for my customers, as well as give me a ton of awesome epic add-ons that make running, launching, and differentiating my SaaS inside of HighLevel so much easier. And now that they're an official sponsor of the show, they've done something pretty bloody awesome. If you go to hlpt.com/experience, you can get one of their incredible tools absolutely for free. No purchase necessary, just for being a listener on the show. So head over to hlpt.com/experience, grab that free tool, and I promise you this is going to improve the conversion rates on your page. Check out all the other stuff that they offer and tell them that Vit sent you.
You know what's wild? There's a smarter way to grow your agency and help more local businesses without adding more stress. That's what HighLevel does. It's your all-in-one sales, marketing, automation, and AI system. No more duct taping tools together or paying for 20 different subscriptions that barely talk to each other. I've been using it for 5 years with my own white-level version, stand out from the pack, helping Aussie businesses like Dimitri, a Canberra electrician, who now runs his jobs, quotes, calls, and follow-ups with our built-in AI employee. If you're an agency, HighLevel lets you do exactly that. Support your clients in new ways while building stable, recurring revenue every month. And if you're a local business, partner up with somebody who knows your market and your industry. If you're in Tasmania, my mate Jared from Boulder Digital, for example, has you covered. If you're in Canberra, that's my turf. Check out standoutfromthepack.com.au and we'll get you sorted. The point is, there's probably a high-level agency or SaaSpreneur near you. We're seasoned marketers, tech-savvy super nerds who love helping local businesses grow. We're global, we're connected, we're high-levelers. Now, I've got something really special for you guys. I've negotiated an exclusive 30-day HighLevel trial that's double the usual just for you. Sign up your agency through gohighlevel.com/vid or upgrade your existing plan, and I'll hook you up with over $3,200 worth of bonuses, resources, templates, and snapshots I normally give to my private clients only. So whether you're scaling an agency or leveling up your business, start with the right system. Go highlevel.com/vid or team up with your local SaaSpreneur and let's make business simple again. One platform, one login, no duct tape, just results.
So the LinkedIn side, you want like 5,000. On the email side, again, it depends on how many appointments you want. You want to factor, you should be able to get one appointment for every 1,000 contacts per month, give or take, depending on the vertical.
Before we go into cold email, though, I just want to stay on LinkedIn a little bit. So
Yeah.
when you say you need a LinkedIn Sales Navigator, that's an additional paid feature for those that are not familiar that LinkedIn offers you, and you pay subscription to it. The limitation with that, is it like, you're talking about the in-mail feature?
So basically, LinkedIn, when you have Sales Navigator, they give you 50 in-mails a month. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can roll that bank up to 3 months. So you might have 150 credits that just kind of sit there. And
Oh,
those
cool.
are emails that can be sent to anyone. Okay.
Whether they're your connection or not.
Whether, they would all be second or third connections on LinkedIn with
Mm-hmm.
it for it. Because if you're a first connection, you have open communication.
Right.
Right. So it bypasses the connection request and you can send a message directly to them. But if you read the docs, on the back of LinkedIn, it's black and white. It says you could do up to 800 open profile outreaches a month. So 5 days a week, that's 40 a day. So when
Open profile.
open
What is that?
profiles. So basically when we build the list, let's say we build a list of 2,000 people.
Yep.
Okay. When we go to enrich the data after we figured that they're good fits, we can check with Sales Navigator. We have the ability to see if they have an open profile. There's no filter in Sales Navigator, but when we clean the data, we're able to see if they have an open profile or not. So depending on that right there, that's at the top of the stream, if you will. And if
Uh-huh.
it's going to go down one end and go towards a direct message immediately without the connection request if they have an open profile.
So this is like people who have allowed people for anybody to be able to message them. That's what you say as an open profile, as opposed to needing to have in-mail credits to be able to do that.
That's correct.
Okay. And you're saying LinkedIn doesn't tell you that, so there is a special way how you figured out how to do that.
So
to find
there's
out.
no, like, if you go into Sales Navigator and you look for a filter that says open profile, it doesn't exist.
Doesn't okay.
Now, it does exist if you pay for a recruiter account. Okay. But the recruiter account is a lot of money. It's thousands of dollars a month, I think. So, but the feature is there. So what happens is when you have a Sales Navigator license, you can manually go and look at the profile and see if it has open. That's not realistic. But
No.
when we automate through AI and we clean the data, one of the things that comes back when we look at the individual profile, the data that comes back from AI is it an open profile or not? So right there, we
And
can
that's
segment it. Yeah.
you find that out by going into each individual profile and see if there is a button that says like message or something like that. That's if
Via
it's open
AI.
profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't do it. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So if we talk in numbers and you say like, okay, well, 5,000 at least to make it sense, that's a lot of profiles to go through. So you use AI to do that. So this is kind of like, it's not really scraping. It's like you program it to visit those profiles basically. And then if it matches their criteria, then is that
Yeah.
kind of how it works? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
In one of your videos, you do say one of your strategies that you go to first, like one of the quickest one is LinkedIn. Is it because of this what we just discussed? Because it's like there's no any bottlenecks in there to go and launch.
Like, again, it's super dependent on the ideal customer. So we always want to address like how big the total addressable market is. But most times LinkedIn, there's no warming period. You can start doing outreach pretty quickly. And if there's influencers, competitors, or people talking to your ideal customer, like adjacent industries that has your ideal customer, and those people comment, like, or follow posts, or attend events, or are part of a group, those are all perfect ways to find people who are active on the platform and
Mm-hmm.
reach out with a relevant message. And
Right, it's kind of like competitors got this much following, and they are actually our ideal market. Let's go and hit them up.
you got it.
Smart.
Yeah. So
So
it works. I mean, what I found is, because we have some customers that we do both cold email and LinkedIn for, and sometimes cold email fails miserably in terms of conversion because it's a saturated market and there's a lot of noise in the market. But then LinkedIn converts, and like some electronics companies will do outreach via email, and you need more volume to get the results. Whereas LinkedIn, we're able to get 10, 20 appointments in a month with hundreds of replies.
what about combination of the two? Would you recommend it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Multi-channel for sure. Yeah. I mean, that just helps with the list building. If you,
I mean, like reaching out to that same person through LinkedIn as well as email. And how
100%.
many of those? Because anytime I'm mentioning omnichannel, and I'm not every time, but oftentimes when I talk to some business owners, they're like, "Oh no, I would." They usually go from the personal like bias. Is like, "No, I hate it. I hate when people message me. That's just too much. I don't want you to do that strategy for me for my business." What would you
Yeah.
say to that?
Do you want to feel comfortable or do you want to make money? It's
Yeah, good.
that would be what I would say, because at the end of the day, sales, there's gonna be people who you're not gonna convert. I mean,
Mhm.
if you're not getting no's and people saying unsubscribe, stop emailing me, unconnecting, you're probably not doing enough. The harsh reality is, you had asked earlier about things that have changed. It's not that cold calls or door knocking or individual emails don't work. The problem is you're competing with AI now. So there's no chance. Even if you work 24/7 for weeks, you can't keep up with the volume that's possible. So
Yeah.
you either need to hire a lot of salespeople to do a lot of manual things, or you use AI to accelerate what's possible, and then put people in the things that are not good for AI, like relationship building and obviously presenting and value focused videos and things that AI currently is not the right fit for.
Are there particular scenarios where you find cold email working better than LinkedIn?
Yeah. So I mentioned like the referral partnership, like that's very effective, mostly because you can get higher volume. Like if you're like a one or two person business, 5-person business, there's only so many LinkedIn messages you can send, right? You're capped at that 1600. Whereas if you have like a huge total addressable market and you service nationwide, like a marketing agency, or obviously offering GHL type of services for specific niches, email is going to give you a much larger volume. So if you have the appetite for cold email, it is nuanced. It's what worked 3 months ago doesn't work for sending to Google Gmail. 2024, Microsoft did a big update that hurt cold email.
Yeah.
2025, Google did a big update that hurt cold email. So it's the old Google slap, right? It's bottom line is it's it's nuanced, and you got to know what you're doing, and you got to build redundancy. But yeah, I mean it is possible, and it does still work. It's just you got to send a lot and do it a little different.
Let's bring it back to relevance of our listeners. Most of them, I would think, are SaaSpreneurs, high-level agency owners. We all want to grow. We all want more customers. Should they consider implementing? I mean, you said it obviously in a way already, but like when it comes to, say, acquiring more SaaS customers, like pure SaaS customers, why should they consider this as a strategy to do that? And what sort of results have you seen were
Yeah.
achieved with this?
Yeah, I mean, if you think through the three ways to grow a business, right? You either need to get more customers, you need to increase your price, or you need to sell more to your existing customers. So, if you're just getting started, or you've been in the game for a while, if you have those existing customers or early customers, it gives you an opportunity to sell a new service and increase your order value. So when you have a SaaS customer and they're looking for customers, and you do a little bit of research and math to figure out if they have a big enough total addressable market, then you offer to them, hey, what if I could get you these? And it's always helped to start off at a lower cost and then increase as you feel more confident. But LinkedIn outreach is a great service for yourself, and you can command $1,000, $2,000 a profile per month to book appointments for people. If they're getting 20 appointments a month, and those are quality appointments, or 10 appointments, even 5 to 10 appointments, depending on the industry. Um, if they have a decent closing ratio, then that's going to give them a big ROI.
Yep.
So, it's being able to sell more to the existing customers and having a higher ticket. If you're bundling all these things in, it increases your price.
I mean, I go to a local BNI group, right? And there's 30 of us, and we're all pitching to the same group every single week. Not directly for them to be our customers, but like, hey, do you know anybody? Hey, do you know anybody? And so, as recently, it made me think about this strategy, whether it's a good strategy, because I'm talking to 30 and I could be talking to 1,000
Yeah.
instead. And this whole strategy heavily depends on personal, like if somebody actually likes you, is going to listen to you, is going to actually consider to deepen that relationship with you
Yep.
as a referral partner, right? So, and I hear all the time, like, hey, this week I'm looking for introduction to that example of handyman. I'm looking for introduction with property managers. If you know anybody, any property managers, send them my way. We can do this and that.
Yep.
And you just go there every week. So in that, right away, I could, well, why am I going here and spending 2 hours a week for a meeting and the money to go there and all that? Or I could just press go on an AI campaign just to search for those people and then go back to that person and like say, hey, look, I found you 30 leads. Or even if I wanted to be smart ass, I could just grab one at a time and then just send it through as a referral. But it would be cold referral, so I would probably need to warm it up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there's many ways to skin the cat, isn't it?
Exactly.
So, question I had was just digging a bit more about the strategy. So we talk about the infrastructure being LinkedIn or cold email. How you do it is using AI to help you build those lists based on the parameters. So you can do that at scale and it's leveraged. Then you use AI to hyper personalize the message because that's what is required these days. You can't get away with, like we said, spin tags and none of that stuff. It's just too vanilla. These days, when it comes to personalization, you really should need the whole message needs to be unique per every email. So you need to do all that. But at the end of the day, none of it matters if your offer is crap.
Exactly.
Have you found like a really good formula for testing offers?
Yep. Yeah. Good question. So I would suggest, based on my testing and track record with customers, is you don't want to personalize the entire message via AI. And the reason being is you can't scale what you don't know is converting. So we
You
talked
can't A/B
about,
split test, yeah.
yeah, a split test, right? The formula that is working for us now and that we're doing for our customers and we're teaching people how to do is the first sentence and the second sentence are AI written. The third sentence, fourth at the most. You don't want to do more than like 80 words total in an outreach message. The third and fourth should really be tying to solving a specific problem and opening the dialogue, getting them to say yes, being able to send them a link, sending them to some sort of value driven resource, right? For lack of a better word, kind of like a lead magnet, but not a lead magnet fully, because you want to like start to bring their interest up slowly, because everyone's got a trust deficit and AI is doing all of this outreach.
How would you phrase that initial like value offer?
Yeah, so let's say the AI would first with an observation. So, hey, I noticed you've been with the company 20 years. Hey, I noticed you guys are in Inc. 5,000. Hey, I noticed something observational, not complimentary. Because if you say, hey, I really admire your company, they're going to know it's AI and they're going to know it's not authentic because you don't admire 1,000 people a day.
Right. Whereas if you said, "Hey, I've noticed recently you made a post about this and that, blah, this and that," yeah,
Exactly. And then the second message, based on the research we did in the pre work of sending that message, the second sentence that's AI written is going to be a problem that your solution solves related to the title of the person and the industry that their company is in. So, for example, let's say you're targeting
relevance.
attorneys, okay, and you do voice agents for attorneys, right? So, hey, we notice that many of the attorneys we work with miss a lot of phone calls and they're spending a lot of money to drive traffic to their business, right? So the second sentence is going to be personalized based on the title and the industry related to your solution that you solve. And it's
Mhm.
focusing on a general problem that most likely they have or a lot of people you work with have. So those two are dynamic. The third is typically, can I share this solution that solves a piece of the problem? Maybe it's a calculator that quantifies by using AI voice to answer the phone how much you're losing by not having this solution. And then once they get to the page, oh, by the way, our voice AI is on there. You could also check it out, right?
Would you say like that specifically in the offer, or would you say, "Hey, can I send you something that can I tell you more? Can I send you more information about how we solve the problem? Would that be something that works better as opposed to saying, hey,
Yeah.
can I send you a free calculator?
I would, whatever it is, less is more, right? You're not going to explain that it's a voice AI agent and all this stuff. You're going to focus on the problem. So, hey, can I share a case study of a similar customer that was able to stop missing calls in their business? They solved this problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it piques their interest. It's related to them. And then whatever that asset is, whatever that place that you're sending them, the next logical step when they get there is one, it helps solve a problem, a piece of the problem, and they see that it's possible. It adds some social proof and credibility for you. And then the natural next call to action is a book an appointment.
And that obviously would be on the landing page, but also in your follow-up message.
That's correct.
So in reality, this is no different to building a funnel page where you engineer the attention like in a cascading manner, like where the headline needs to grab their attention in order for them to want to read the subheadline, same thing in order for them to read the next paragraph. So you want to get their attention, but you want to pique their interest too, right? So what, like you said it, so that's why you wouldn't lay it all out in an email, because then there's nothing else to like, there's no cliffhangers.
Yeah, you almost want to replicate the organic sales process or funnel sales process in your outreach. Someone's not going to book an appointment if they haven't learned more about the business, they've gone through the funnel, learned more about, done their research, right? So if you help facilitate their research for them and educate them and teach them and put them through that process in reverse, you're more likely to get that appointment. And also they, not only that, they come in super qualified. And like, if you do it right and you're putting them through a process where they're learning, because after they opt in is really where the job also starts, right? We want to use email, we want to send them videos, personal outreach. Like there's other things that happen after. Like if all we're doing is sending emails with reminders of the meeting and hey, make sure you attend, we failed. We gotta they should come onto the call where all the questions that they would typically ask on a phone call are already answered. So that way,
That's a good that's a good
but
point.
if you can replicate that in the cold outreach where you're feeding them the beginning of the organic process to help solve those early questions, because if those first questions start, they're going to start asking themselves the next set of questions like, well, how does that work? How would I implement that? But you got to start from the top. So if you replicate the cold or the organic sales process, you're gonna have a much better experience for your results and conversion.
Now testing that offer, I've heard some say it's better to run it through Facebook ad first, then run it through cold email. Others saying run it through cold email first to test the offer, find the right variable, then run it through ads. What would you say to that?
I would test it on the platform and the place that it's going to be. What's interesting is I've had offers and like messaging that's converted really well on LinkedIn that did not on email, and vice versa, right? Email is a more direct one-to-one communication, whereas like LinkedIn is a social networking platform, right? So you want to, like, if you're doing LinkedIn, you got to focus a little bit more on walking a little slower and that relationship piece, opening open-ended questions. Whereas especially if you're doing the multi-channel, the omni-channel, like you could go straight into a direct offer or an email if you've already got them as a LinkedIn connection.
Right.
So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Can we look at like how exactly does the integration with like the LinkedIn outreach and cold email into GHL work? Like, especially in terms of staying compliant and not getting accounts burned.
Yep.
Because that is like the first thing I would hear if I approach a customer and say, hey, can I get hold of your LinkedIn account? I'm going to do a LinkedIn outreach for you. And if they are somebody like a lawyer, reputable, they spend years on building really good quality relationships, and now they're going to give their keys away to somebody, they're going to have hesitancy.
Agreed. Yeah, it's
right?
good. It's a very valid point. You want to be very mindful that you're reaching out on their behalf. They're going to want to know what messaging is and what all that. I'm not going to go through this entire thing, but ultimately, this is kind of where we help people if they're currently running cold outreach, they want to do their own LinkedIn or cold outreach, or they want to like resell our services as in a white label fashion, or just do it themselves and resell it themselves. But to
So sorry to jump in there, guys. So if you're listening to this podcast right now on like Spotify or Apple Podcast or whatever, what Brian is doing right now is sharing a screen of there's some slides. We're going to go into some visuals. So if you'd like to see those, then hop over into our YouTube channel where you can watch the episode with the video.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I'll be sure to articulate what's on the screen here. HubSpot did a study and they said that cost of acquisition increased 222% in the past 8 years. But the low cost channels are still email and social outreach for business to business customer acquisition. So what that means for us as agency owners is we can command some pretty high retainers for cold email and LinkedIn outreach. And our costs vary significantly depending on the volume and what data enrichment and all that stuff and getting lists, buying lists. But for the most part, it's a profitable avenue. The reality is, let me see here. The reality is it's complex. Marketing agencies have to source the leads, they have to enrich the leads, write the copy, load it into the system, and then you mentioned the risk of a LinkedIn outreach. So as it relates to LinkedIn, we tried to bring all this together so you're not logging into 8 to 12 different systems and ensure that it scales safely. LinkedIn has, let me get to a specific slide here. LinkedIn has specific restrictions as it relates to their outreach. Okay. So if you find in their help docs, it'll tell you you can do 400. Here we go. LinkedIn has restrictions 400 a month. So 100 a week connection requests or 200 a week open in mails if you have Sales Navigator. So that what unlocks the connection request is Sales Navigator. So when you have Sales Nav, you can do 200 connection requests a week and 200 open in mails. So 40 a day, 5 days a week. Okay. We don't go over that. We will not turn on multiple campaigns at the same time. And we will coach our customers to say, don't do
40 a day.
40 a day.
You know what's interesting? That it's almost the same number as like how many max at most on average you should be sending per one email address when you do cold email.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't, the number's gotten smaller, like really 30s on the high end now, 20
Yeah.
is recommended, plus 10 warming emails. So a total of 30. So the numbers keep getting smaller on the email side. But yeah, I agree. LinkedIn does not like if you're, it's not natural, right? So we're gonna not only stay within the limits on our automation, but also for the customer, we tell them don't run concurrent campaigns with some other tool. And question, do you want to be able to send your own connection requests? Are you active or are you just going to like leave LinkedIn alone? If they leave it alone, do 40 a day, 5 days a week. If they are active, do 30 a day, 5 days a week and give them an extra 50 a week, right? Because what happens is if you go over 200 a week, LinkedIn will send you an email and just say, hey, you're connecting to people you probably don't know at such a high volume. You're not able to connect for 24 hours. Next slap on the wrist is 72 hours. The third is a week.
A workaround to this with having more than like having multiple LinkedIn accounts. I've seen this thing where people can buy those. I don't know how that works.
That's I would stay away from that personally. Get your employees to be able to do it. If you don't have employees, then augment it with advertising or something else. It's just you don't, because if you think about buying an account, Super gets their terms of service, number one. But number two, you have to tie that fake account to your business to make the outreach relevant. And you don't want to be caught on the other end of that. And there's some shady
Mm.
actors. I don't know. I personally stay away from it. I know there's people that do it. I know there's services that are pretty good that do it. But personally, I don't do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Sales Navigator, there's some restrictions on there. And again, you need Sales Navigator. But let me share my
With
screen.
those restrictions, doesn't matter when you send those emails and connection requests. I know you said limit per day being, I think you said 40, but can you just go like in 30 minutes, just do it all in one blast? Does it matter at all?
It absolutely matters. So the software that we run for our customers is mimics human behavior. So we're going to send 40 connection requests plus 40 open profiles plus view profiles, like comments over the course of an 8-hour period. So we're gonna do it within the time zone that we're based out of over an 8-hour working day period. Typically it's Monday through Friday. Sometimes weekends do work well too, but gives you an idea as to how it's set up.
Another thing I've heard is instead of like when it comes to these software, it's better to use like a Chrome extension as opposed to something native that logs in on your behalf.
Yeah, Chrome extensions do expose you sometimes. Like there was something I just read this week around a Chrome extension that had been siphoning data for a long time. I think no matter what, you're logging into a platform and you need a reputable partner that has a direct API into LinkedIn. The way we set it up is through the Authenticator app, that dual authentication via LinkedIn, and we set it up that way. Chrome extension is an option as well. I've just heard things that it's not as secure. It depends on your appetite for that.
Risking, yeah. If you
Yeah.
got an established profile for years, you don't want to risk it.
Yeah. LinkedIn won't like penalize you for logging in via another software. And the person who's typically hiring you to do LinkedIn outreach understands that they're going to have to give you their logins if you're reaching out on their behalf. So we've never had an issue with it. We give them the link for them to log in. They log in, and then we can't see their inbox unless it was generated from the campaign. So there's it's specific to second and third connection requests on the campaign that we're running that show up in the unified inbox.
Ah, so it won't show the other messages.
Yeah, like we're not going to see their job offers or recruiting or whatever.
So what you're showing here on this visual, I'm looking at this, is the design of the software and how it then trickles down into the inbox. So the way I understand this from looking at this, you're able to show those LinkedIn messages inside the omnichannel inbox inside HighLevel.
Yeah, so think of our software as a unification between LinkedIn outreach, cold email outreach, and Go HighLevel, as well as enrichment data, list building, and actionable insights that you can get from the customer. So we've built in the enrichment and the AI responses inside our software. The Go HighLevel is great once you have the lead, right? But getting the lead through cold outreach is separate. So
You can't do it through HighLevel. Yeah.
yeah, so but we've mapped the individual locations. So for example, let's say I'm an agency owner and I have 10 different sub accounts and I'm running 10 different campaigns. We can map the individual campaign to the individual sub account. So each of those sub accounts can have their own responses inside their conversation stream inside of the Go HighLevel unified inbox. So that
Both
way
the
they're
response and the reply. Sorry, the like the whole two-way.
the whole chain.
Yeah,
And if
whole
they
chain.
reply from their Go HighLevel inbox, it replies via the LinkedIn message chain or the cold email chain that it came in from.
Oh, brilliant. This is, I
So
like that.
yeah. So on the screenshot is a look at the wireframe. So there's things blocked out for confidentiality reasons. But basically up top here, you can see if they have a LinkedIn picture, it'll show their picture. It shows a link to their LinkedIn account, their title, their company, where the company's located, what campaign it was from, what industry they're in, what company size they're in. And then you can't see it here, but if you scroll down here, it also does an AI summary of the company's ideal customer profile, who they're looking for their customers, and then a AI breakdown of the person. So we enrich all the data and we get as much as we can. And then we have an AI reply assistant that can be prompted and for the campaign. So if your next logical step in the campaign is to send them to a specific page, we can prompt the reply assistant to do that. And it's in the beginning, we recommend it's manual, like it'll write the whole message for you and it'll be mostly there. But before you turn on the automated response, we suggest collecting 50 responses back and forth. That way we gather some data from the customer, we gather some data from the prospect, right? So whatever the customer is saying to the prospect and what the prospect is saying to the customer, we get an idea of that two-way dialogue, and then we could train the AI with that information.
Yeah, you want to train it a little bit so it's more on point. Okay, I like that. So is this the view of the inbox, or are you saying the actual native high-level inbox is where it shows?
Both. So
Okay, both.
yeah, both. So they're going to be unified. So if you reply from this inbox, which is what we're looking at is the conversation button in everyone's Go High Level, right? The conversation unified inbox. You'll see there's a little LinkedIn icon or a little cold email icon in addition
And
to
that's
the
the
text.
custom app that you have, because that doesn't normally show there. The LinkedIn doesn't exist as a
Exactly.
message.
Yeah. So we have a marketplace app that gets installed, and then we have a snapshot for the enrichment data. So that way, all the stuff that's in our app can also show and Go High Level. You can take actions after that with that data. But so like the lead scoring I talked about, you could do things, a lot of creative things on the enriched data. But the thing that LinkedIn or the thing that Go High Level does not have is the ability to create custom providers automations yet. So
Right, so you can't trigger off an automation based on a LinkedIn message being received
that's right.
because
So
it
that's why
doesn't.
we built it in our app.
Okay, so
So
that
that's
is a
why this
workaround.
AI reply assistant
Yep.
will create the reply, and then once it's trained, you can turn it on and it'll do the replies for you and reply to them within a couple minutes of the inbound message.
And when it does reply, it shows up in the native conversation tab as well.
That's correct. Yeah, any replies inside our software will show up in the conversation stream and Go High Level, and any reply from Go High Level will show up in our app.
I like this. If somebody was to consider this as a service for other B2B businesses, to me, what makes most sense is almost just like use it for your own agency to get your own customers and learn how it works. Get confident with it, then you can
Yeah,
offer
we
others.
started a school community where we're teaching how to do this, and basically with the school community, we include the access to our software and one LinkedIn license. What we suggest is you do it for yourself first. That way, you can learn how to do it the right way and how to sell it better when you have actual results. Like you'll have more conviction if you're having conversations with prospects that you know you got them on that call because you did a LinkedIn outreach to them, right?
Yeah.
It's usually good to start off. And again, we've set it up in a do it yourself versus a done for you. We priced it pretty aggressively to
And this tool, does it include access to the cold email outreach campaigns as well, like to be able to do those, or is it separate?
that is separate. We built the integration. The campaigns will show up inside of our app that can be mapped to the individual Go High Level sub accounts, but we're not doing done for you email outreach. Not now. We'll teach you how to do it. Like we do it for a lot of larger customers and smaller customers. We're successful at it. We've got the
No,
track
sorry, yeah.
record.
So that's what I meant. Like not that you would do the campaign for those that are interested in this,
We teach
but
them.
that they'll be and that includes software to do it, or does that mean that we would have to go and like sign up to something like Instantly, for example, or
Yeah, we integrate with Instantly for that.
yeah.
So they would have to sign up for
Okay, so
Instantly.
right. So if I've got an Instantly account already, I can integrate with your platform, and that's how I can then. Yeah. Okay. Great. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna build things in the future. We're trying to really make LinkedIn a good experience first. We use it for our own agency. We have customers that use the integration, but in terms of like done for you, we're not doing that. The
Unless they're,
email
yeah.
yet.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Well,
Brian, I'm a very curious guy. I put you on a spot here. I think a lot of product related questions. In a way, what I'm trying to do here is help overcome some objections potentially. If somebody's listening, I mean, this is a good offer. This year, for me personally, I'm going to go heavy on outreach and inbound as well, still through content. It's a bit of a double-sided sword there.
Yep.
But, I've got Instantly account. I've got like, I don't know, 12 domains warmed up. I've got 40 or so email addresses there. Because back then it was like you can have 4. Now it seems like you can only have 2 or 3. That's more recommended. Anyway, I've got the infrastructure there, but it's separate from HighLevel. So what this does, it bridges the gap for me personally. So now you put a link there on the screen can you explain what we're doing here?
Yeah, so we put together some tools and resources for LinkedIn. So I have 25 prompts, some strategy and copywriting tips, and some resources. And then when you get the resources, you also get information about our tool and school community. And right now we're in the process of doing like our first 100 agency owners, and we really want to work with people who are going to give us feedback. We are asking you to fill out a quick qualification form and just have a conversation. It's not that we're saying no to everyone, but we are making sure that we get the proper feedback and get the right people in there. So far, we've gotten phenomenal feedback and we've improved the product. But regardless, you can get these free resources and then learn a little bit more about the tool by going to AIWhitelabelOutreach.com/HL experience.
Brilliant. I like it. Can we talk about the pricing a little bit, or is that something you want to keep behind the funnel?
No. As of the time of this recording, we have basically the do-it-yourself is $199 a LinkedIn license, and that includes the Go HighLevel integration, the enrichment, the list building, and the automation tool. And then done for you, if we're white labeling it, right now we're offering the volume rate of 500. So we typically start discounting 500 at 10 licenses for like retail wise, right? So if like we went out and sold this retail, we're charging at least $1,000 a license. And like if they get to 3, we'll lower it to 850. If they get to 5, we lower it to 750. And then if they get to 10, we lower it to 500. So for agency owners, we're doing it for 500. And we do the copywriting, the automations, the setup, and the management of it. And you would just submit.
Okay, so when you said the white label, straight away I went to white label as a software. You're talking about white label as a service. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So, brilliant. I had another question. With the enrichment that's AI related, so does that mean you need to plug in your own API key for OpenAI?
It's included in the price.
It's included.
Yeah, we do all the research, the list building, the social listening, and the personalized copywriting natively in the tool.
Social listening, that's one area we didn't tap into. And I was going to mention it because I did hear you talking about it in one of the videos when I was looking at it yesterday. What does it mean, social listening? And why is it so important?
Yeah, I alluded to it before. It was really, but a good question. When social listening would be like, let's say you have an influencer that is posting and they have hundreds of comments, or a competitor where they have the same ideal customer and there's comments and likes and people following them. We're able to pull those people and then score them whether they've passed through and basically have that relevant outreach. Hey, I saw you like you're interested in marketing. Hey, I saw you're interested in sales growth, personal development. That's what social listening is. It's listening for specific people's profiles, keywords.
It creates an opportunity for you to message them with something relevant.
You got it.
Creates an open conversation starter message.
Yeah, it's actually twofold. What we've seen with social listening, we used to get like the industry average is like 10 to 15% connection rate acceptance cold. Okay. We're getting 40 to 70% acceptance rate because they're active on the platform. When you're social listening, you're seeing people in real time that are active on a platform. So that gives you not only, like in the old days when you build a list on Apollo, they may have not logged into LinkedIn in 2 years, right? But on LinkedIn, if you build the list based on activity on LinkedIn, then you're going to get people that are more engaged and active on the platform. And then the information is more relevant. So not only are they connecting at a higher rate, but they're responding at a higher rate. It's not a uncommon thing for like a campaign to get hundreds of replies in a month, where they don't all convert to appointments, right? But you have 200 people that replied positively to your outreach. And then you can add them to retargeting lists, email lists. It's powerful.
Absolutely. And then if you're smart with your follow-up strategy, you can turn it into an actual opportunity.
Yeah, and that's built into our tool as well. So we added social listening. So you got to find like the post or the person or the group on LinkedIn or the event on LinkedIn or whoever you want to find. But we'll do the pulling of the data and the copywriting for you once you find it.
And that social listening is included in with the software as well.
That's correct.
So you can, if it's do it yourself, that capability is there.
That's
and
correct.
you teach how to do it. Okay, so you get options. Great.
Yeah, and then we have a school community that's an extra $200. We teach you how to fish.
Or you pay. What's the school community? Didn't you say you have a bundle where you can access the school community and it includes one license?
Exactly. Yeah. So it would be $497 would include one license with all the AI enrichment, the LinkedIn automation, the school community, the bridge, and then all cold email integration. So if you have Instantly, that would also be included as well.
Brilliant. One more final question for you. If somebody wants to package this as an offer, like an AI outreach offer for GHL agencies who are already established, how could they package this up? What would be an ideal way?
Yeah, so if they're doing LinkedIn outreach, I would charge 1,000 or more. So if they're doing it themselves, it's 800 in profit. If they're having us do it for them, it's 500 in profit. And I would suggest getting in the group because we're teaching how to offer it and sell it, and also some white label videos and stuff like that. But yeah, they can use our software to do it, and it integrates right into HighLevel, so they can pipe those conversations in and create an offer. Again, it goes back to the qualifying the person, right? You want to make sure you can get them good results before you take their money. But
do it for your own agency. You can apply it for generating more SaaS customers, dial it in. It's like, I mean, there's many ways to generate leads, right? Let's put it this way. And whichever way you choose, make sure you invest some time and effort into it, because it involves some investment. And so you want to make sure that you're not spreading yourself thin, trying all the different things at once. This makes perfect sense to do. LinkedIn, everything that we discussed today. I know this works. Cold email works. LinkedIn works. So I think it's a great offer, and I think you've got a great product, Bryan. All I'm just trying to say to you guys listening is, if you're going to consider taking this offer, like, go all in, and I'm pretty sure you get results. Just don't get distracted. Like, go all in on this for like 3 months, really focused, dial it in, and yeah, you should definitely have a return on this. Bryan, I've exhausted all my questions. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I appreciate it. This has been great. Love the conversation, and people can check it out. AI white label outreach.com/HL experience. And that page will give you the free resources. There's also an audit of your LinkedIn profile on there. So you can put in your LinkedIn profile and who your target customer is. And we built an AI tool that will audit your profile for you. So then make suggestions how to improve the conversions. And Vit, appreciate the conversation. It's been fun.
Thank you, Bryan. I appreciate you being on, mate, sharing your knowledge with this strategy and talking to us about your awesome product. Guys, so that's AI white label outreach. That's in one word. AI white label outreach.com/HL experience. And on that landing page, you can opt in to get access to some free resources to get you started. And then on the back of that, you can then decide, should you want to invest into Bryan's program, Bryan's offer, then you can go ahead and do that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you for listening to today's episode on the HighLevel Experience. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please share it with other fellow agency owners and mates that you think would also benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help you grow your agency or your SaaS with HighLevel, please head over to highlevelexperience.com. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, everybody.